Hi, this is your host, Mycah Bacchus, and we are on set with Behind the Business, and today we have an amazing guest. He is a photographer and visual consultant, Ryan West. Thank you so much for coming today, Ryan.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited for you to be here today because we met a very long time ago in 2017.
Wow.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
I was new, up and coming in modeling. You were an amazing photographer even back then, but you have been killing it. So I just want to ask you a little bit about yourself, if you can introduce yourself to the audience.
Sure. My name is Ryan West. I'm originally from Vancouver, Canada. Had, by way of New York, came to LA, live here now. Fashion photographer, celebrity photographer, also do visual consulting and lighting direction for certain clients. And yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Awesome. And so you said you were a celebrity photographer and you have been doing amazing work on set with Blac Chyna. Can you tell us a little bit about that on her new VH1 show and what you were doing there?
Well, that one's not out yet.
Okay.
It's just taped, so she has a new show coming out. In one of the segments and one of the episodes, I'm photographing her for, I believe it was her eyelash company for the campaign for that.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. So can you tell me a little bit about how you got started and what made you choose photography as your mode of artistry?
I always like to say I'm in my third life. So originally I went to business school, have a business degree, worked in finance for a number of years.
Wow.
Then at the same time, concurrently, I was also doing music and was a DJ in clubs, and I had a radio show in Vancouver and worked with artists, things like that. And then kind of the third life now is in photography, which started as a hobby. And then it just shot up really quickly for me, and that's what prompted me to move to New York and then to LA. And
so in New York, you were also doing photography as well, and when
I was assisting more to a very famous photographer, Alexei Lubomirsky. Got to go on sets with him for Vogue and Harper's Bazaar, Victoria's Secret, that type of stuff. So learned so much, soaked it in, and then ultimately came to LA to set up my own studio.
Awesome. And how long have you been doing your own studio? Because this is Behind the Business. We love to know how you run your own business.
I would say since like 2014, 2015, doing it seriously. That's when I first moved to New York, still assisting, but also still doing some of my own jobs. And then when I came to LA, of course, just doing my own work.
Yeah. So Ryan, can you tell us a little bit about when you first started? I know it's probably not the easiest thing to do to come from New York, Vancouver, then New York, then LA. It's probably not super, super easy, or maybe it was for you to come here and set up your own studio and just, jump in and go off on a whim. Can you tell me a little bit about maybe some of the challenges that you've had setting up? Yeah.
For sure. So yeah, it's basically like you're setting up like 3 times. Obviously in Vancouver, that's where I was born and went to school. So you have those friendships and that support and that circle.
Yeah.
Moving to New York, I literally knew one person and luckily was able to, rent a couch off that person for like a little while until I got set up there, and then just building up that social circle. New York, I feel it is good. I feel like there's a good energy and the people are quite supportive. Then when I decided to come to LA again, starting from scratch, again, only knew one person. He was an acquaintance of mine that worked at Universal Music and rented me a room for like a couple weeks until I could go find my own place. So yeah, it was difficult.
Yeah.
And, I had to, when I came to LA, like it wasn't like when I was in New York, I still had my apartment in Vancouver. When I went to LA, that was it. I remember sending all my stuff down, getting into the car, packing a few things, and literally driving. So it was quite an experience, like going across the border, driving from Vancouver to LA.
Wow.
And just like, looking in the rearview mirror and seeing, okay, that's the past. I'm heading to like my new future, whatever that's going to be.
Wow.
And yeah, it was challenging because of course I didn't know anyone here. So during the day, I'm trying to, call people, email people, figure out the city, figure out how the business is run. And then of course at night and on weekends and stuff, it was challenging. So part of my strategy was I didn't want to get, depressed by just being by myself. So instead of getting an apartment on my own at first, I went and rented a room off of somebody at a house.
Yeah.
And that person was a pretty well-known interior designer.
Okay.
So at least I had someone that I could talk to.
Right.
And I wasn't just lonely, because LA is not the easiest place to build a new social circle.
It's not. So how important are connections when you are building a business, whether it be a photography business or any type of business in the industry in Los Angeles?
I would say it's everything, because it's who you know that gets you in the door. It's what you know that keeps you there, right?
Right.
And so just sometimes that's how it works. And whether it's fair or unfair, regardless, that is life, right?
Yeah.
So you do have to get out there, make yourself known, meet people, be genuine. I don't like it when people are too like networky. Like if I'm out at a party or somewhere, I just genuinely like to meet people.
Yeah.
And that's also probably why I like photography, because I get to meet people from all walks of life, people that are doing things, people of interest. And so in the same way, when I meet someone, we just connect, and I like to ask questions. I'm a pretty curious guy. I like to learn, and you just never know.
Never know.
And sometimes that comes back to you, right? They're like, oh, hey, like my friend was looking for this. They need someone for this, thing. Can you, and then they connect you, and it ends up being something super.
I mean, look at us
cool.
now,
Yeah.
from 2017 to 2022. Look how crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ryan, you know a lot of people. I just want to brag about you a little bit and list some of the things that you've been working on. So you've had magazine covers with Olivia Munn for Marie Claire, Mandy Moore for L'Officiel. You worked with Stefan James for Deadline and when he was playing Basquiat, Christopher Sullivan from This Is Us for LA Confidential. I mean, you are extremely, extremely busy. How do you think you got from there when you just got here and you were on couch surfing to now working with all of these people? What advice can you give to new and up and coming photographers when they want to get to your spot?
I think, again, just, being genuine, adding value is always a big one, no matter even back in my finance days to the music business to now. It's always just trying to add value. So many people, hit you up and it's kind of what you can do for them. Like I get DMs, all the time, like, oh, I'd love to come and like assist you so I can learn from you and I can do this from like it's kind of taking.
Yeah.
And my thing was always like, hey, I'd love to, I love your work. I'd love to come help. What can I do for you? It's a much different mindset,
Yes.
kind of like giving versus taking. So I think a big one is how can you add value to someone, right? That's going to go a long way. Just being genuine, keeping your word, being consistent. Just be cool, be kind.
So you heard it here, add value when you're trying to build, when you get here, and maybe one day you can shoot magazine covers for Marie Claire like Ryan. So I want to ask you a little bit if we can pivot to work-life balance. Now that's something that I'm working on. I'm newly married, and I know you're married, you have a beautiful son now, and congratulations on that. But I'm sure that there's times when you have to really think about how you balance your life between your business, which is booming, to your family. Can you give us a little bit of insight on how you do that?
Yeah, it's not easy, and sometimes you don't do it, right? And you have to kind of recalibrate, but it's good to be mindful. And so there's like, kind of, I don't know, I guess like there's a theory that I sort of, that I came up with, and like a little kind of metaphor I use. I always say like you have cups, and they're constantly depleting and being filled. So you need time by yourself, you need time with your partner, you need time with your family, and you need time with your friends. Right? And so I just try to be mindful of that and see how the cups are flowing, because obviously the cups are not going to be full all the time.
It's not always
so it's just being mindful of that, and you can sort of feel it, right? And even with my wife, like I'll say like, okay, you know what, we should go away for the weekend. Let's have your parents watch Christian, my son, and go away and just you fill that cup, basically.
Right.
So it's never easy, and especially like when you're first like going off to build your name and to do things, it is like it almost is an unhealthy obsession, and it needs to be, right? Think of everyone that's done something that is notable for it. They've obviously had to sacrifice something to get there.
Right.
If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right?
You're so right. Thank you so much for that information. I'm definitely going to apply that to myself, because that's something I'm working on. So I want to ask you, for the next few minutes, what is your favorite shoot, and then what would be your dream shoot? Have you thought about that, or have you already done your dream shoot?
Oh man, I mean, there's always more, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you're the same, right?
There's
You're the type
always,
of people that
yes.
once you get something, then you want the next
to the
thing,
next
and
level.
you just want more and more, which is all just part of the drive, right? Favorite shoots? That's a good one. I mean, most shoots are pretty fun. I'm trying to think what would be one that was just like so amazing. That's a tough one, and I should have this answer. Like,
Okay, maybe what's your dream shoot then?
A dream shoot would just be to travel somewhere like more international. Like a lot of the shoots these days are just national. So I just came back from Miami or New York, LA, those kind of markets. But back before my time, it would be like, hey, we're going to shoot this editorial. Let's go for like 3 weeks to wherever, like Egypt or something crazy.
Yeah.
So that would be amazing to travel to some international, like, glamorous place.
Okay, and what is your favorite style? I know you shoot a few different styles. Like, is fashion your favorite lifestyle? What's your favorite style to shoot?
I mean, I like to shoot a lot of things, but it's always done in my way. So like my identity of what I like in my work.
And what is that?
Is like beauty, emotion, elegance, glamour, things of that. It's a little bit elevated style of photography.
Right.
And it's not necessarily has to look produced. It could still be kind of effortless is kind of what I go for. And then either it's going to be sort of light and bright, like I do like that, but I also like dark and edgy as well.
You
so
do.
It's kind of like that contrast.
Yes.
I try and stay away from the middle point if I can.
Yeah, I definitely see that on your Instagram. I love all of your photos. When you post on like your work is so amazing. I love to see every time you post your work because I'm like, wow, he's really out here killing it, but also just at the base of it, your artistry is really beautiful.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So my last question for you is, where do you see yourself in the future? I mean, you've done so much. I love to hear the story of your grind and your perseverance, but what do you see for yourself in the future?
Just continuous growth, keep going forward, maybe some bigger covers, bigger celebrities. Also maybe like directing a bit more. I'm starting to direct these small kind of like little fashion films for some brands. So I do enjoy that. And I think just continuing in that direction as well, maybe expanding the family a little bit. Yeah, just, wealth, health, and love, right? So the love part is there. Health, luckily still there. So I need to maybe focus on that a little more as well. And yeah, just keep building. Everything.
Keep growing.
It's a life of design. When I worked in finance, I always thought of that. I'm like, there's more to this. I feel like there's more. And I started planning it out. And I'm like, some people let life happen to them. And of course, that is part of it. But you can plan. You can have a life of design.
Yes. Take it by the reins.
So that's what I've done. And now it's, all those little seeds are starting to come to fruition, and that's all part of, that's all part of it, isn't it, right?
Yes, absolutely beautiful. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciated you telling me everything about your story, and please tell everybody where they can find you on Instagram or your socials.
Sure,
everything.
Thank you so much. So you can find me at ryanwestphoto.com, which is my website, or at ryanwestphoto, which is my Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan, for coming.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.